Welcome to History with Herodotus, where we delve into the depths of human experience, navigating the intricate tapestry of time and unraveling the mysteries of our collective past. Today, we embark on a journey to explore one of the most pivotal moments in history, the Fall of Constantinople, an event that shook the foundations of empires, reshaped the contours of power, and forever altered the course of human civilization. In the early dawn of May 29, 1453, the ancient walls of Constantinople, the capital of the Byzantine Empire, were breached by the relentless forces of Mehmed II, Sultan of the Ottoman Empire. The city, once the epicenter of Eastern Roman power and culture, fell to the invaders after a grueling siege that lasted for 53 days. But to truly comprehend the magnitude of this event, we must first immerse ourselves in the world that preceded it. Let us transport ourselves to the 11th century, when the Byzantine Empire, under the rule of the Macedonian dynasty, experienced a resurgence of power and culture. This period saw a flourishing of art, literature, and architecture, as exemplified by the majestic Hagia Sophia, whose grandeur still inspires awe today. However, beneath this veneer of prosperity, the empire was facing internal strife, corruption, and external pressures from neighboring powers. As we navigate through the centuries, we find the Byzantine Empire increasingly beset on all sides. The Normans were making inroads into its Italian territories, while the Seljuk Turks were exerting pressure from the east. The Crusades, launched by Western Christian armies, further depleted the empire's resources and created deep-seated divisions between the Latin West and the Greek East. The turning point came in 1204. When the Fourth Crusade culminated in the sack of Constantinople itself. This egregious betrayal by supposed allies left the city scarred, both physically and psychologically, and the empire never fully recovered from this blow. The Byzantine Empire was eventually restored, but its power was significantly diminished. In the early 14th century, a new force began to rise in Anatolia, the Ottoman Turks. Founded by Osman Bey, this tribal confederation expanded rapidly under his successors, Orhan and Murad I, who established a disciplined army and an efficient administrative system. The Ottomans' military prowess was first demonstrated at the Battle of Kosovo in 1389, where they decisively defeated a coalition of Balkan states. By the early 15th century, the Ottoman Empire had become the dominant power in the region, with its sights set on the strategic prize of Constantinople. In 1422, Murad II, the sixth Sultan of the Ottoman Empire, laid siege to the city, but ultimately withdrew, recognizing that his forces were not yet sufficient to breach its formidable defenses. This ambitious and calculating young sultan was determined to fulfill the long-held Ottoman dream of capturing Constantinople, an achievement that would cement his legacy and secure his empire's position as a global power. With meticulous planning and unparalleled ambition, Mehmed II began preparing for the ultimate challenge, the conquest of the ancient city on the Bosphorus. He oversaw the construction of massive cannons designed by Hungarian engineer Orban, which would be capable of breaching the hitherto impregnable walls of Constantinople. The fate of empires hung in the balance as the great powers of East and West converged on this fateful moment. The fall of Constantinople is a testament to the enduring power of human ambition, the inevitability of change, and the indelible mark that our actions leave upon the sands of time. As Mehmed II's preparations for the siege of Constantinople reached their climax, the city's defenders, led by Emperor Constantine XI Palaeologus, were bracing themselves for the impending onslaught. The Byzantine emperor, aware of the Ottomans' formidable military might, had appealed to Western Christian powers for aid, but his pleas had largely fallen on deaf ears. On April 2, 1453, Mehmed II's army, estimated to be between 80,000 to 200,000 strong, arrived before the walls of Constantinople, their camp stretching from the Golden Horn to the Sea of Marmara. The Ottoman siege engines, including the massive cannons designed by Orban, were deployed against the city's defenses, which had been weakened by centuries of neglect and poor maintenance. The bombardment began on April 12, 1453, with the Ottomans targeting the walls near the Gate of St. Romanus, where the defenses were most vulnerable. As the days passed, the Ottoman cannons pounded the walls relentlessly, causing significant breaches and weakening the structure. On May 29, 1453, after 53 days of siege, the Ottoman forces launched a final assault on the city. The defenders, exhausted and outnumbered, fought valiantly but were ultimately unable to withstand the Ottoman onslaught. As the walls were breached, the Ottoman soldiers poured into the city, overwhelming the Byzantine defenders. Emperor Constantine XI Palaiologos was last seen fighting on the ramparts, where he reportedly died in combat. As the Ottomans claimed the city, Mehmed II rode into Constantinople on a white horse, surveying the devastation and marveling at the beauty of the ancient capital. The conqueror's first act was to visit the Hagia Sophia, the magnificent Byzantine cathedral, which he converted into a mosque, marking the beginning of a new era in the city's history. The fall of Constantinople sent shockwaves throughout Christendom, as the news of the city's capture spread like wildfire, leaving many to wonder if this marked the end of the Eastern Roman Empire and the beginning of a new Ottoman dominance. In the aftermath of the conquest, Mehmed II ordered his soldiers to spare the lives of the inhabitants, but the city was still subjected to 3 days of pillage and plunder. Many of its treasures were looted, and its inhabitants were either sold into slavery or forced to flee. The once great city, which had been the epicenter of Byzantine culture and learning for over 1,000 years, was now in ruins, its population decimated and its heritage threatened. As the dust settled, Mehmed II began to consolidate his power, establishing a new administrative system and encouraging the settlement of Muslims from Anatolia and other parts of the Ottoman Empire. The city's name was officially changed to Istanbul, and it would eventually become the capital of the Ottoman Empire, a center of Islamic learning and culture, and a symbol of Ottoman power and prestige. As Mehmed II consolidated his power, he implemented a series of measures to revitalize the city, which had been devastated by the conquest. He encouraged the settlement of Muslims from Anatolia and other parts of the Ottoman Empire, offering them land and incentives to rebuild and restore the city's infrastructure. The once great Byzantine capital, now renamed Istanbul, began to take on a new identity as mosques, bazaars, and baths sprouted up alongside the remnants of its Christian past. One of the most significant consequences of the fall of Constantinople was the massive influx of Greek scholars who fled to Italy, bringing with them precious manuscripts and knowledge of classical antiquity. This sparked a renewed interest in classical learning, which would eventually contribute to the flowering of the Renaissance. As the historian Edward Gibbon noted, the fugitive Greeks brought with them to the shores of Italy the precious relics of their native literature, and the fragments of ancient wisdom which they had preserved contributed to revive the lights of knowledge in the Western world. As the years passed, Istanbul flourished under Ottoman rule, becoming a center of Islamic learning and culture. The city's strategic location made it a hub of trade between East and West, with merchants from all over the world flocking to its bustling markets. The Ottomans also invested heavily in the city's infrastructure, building magnificent mosques, palaces, and public buildings that still stand today as testaments to their engineering prowess. Despite the passing of centuries, the fall of Constantinople remains a pivotal moment in history, remembered as a turning point in the struggle between Christianity and Islam. For many Greeks, it is still a traumatic event, a symbol of the loss of their ancestral homeland and the destruction of their cultural heritage. As the Greek poet Constantine Cavafy wrote, "In the profound depths of our soul, we bear the weight of the city, the memories of its grandeur, and a sorrow of its fall." Today, the legacy of the fall of Constantinople can be seen in the modern-day tensions between Greece and Turkey, with both countries still disputing the ownership of certain territories and cultural artifacts. However, it is also a reminder of the complex and intertwined history of East and West, and the enduring power of human creativity and resilience in the face of adversity. It is a story of triumph and tragedy, of conquest and defeat, but also of the enduring power of ideas, cultures, and civilizations. As we look to the future, it is essential that we remember the past, not just as a series of dry facts, but as a living, breathing narrative that continues to shape our world today. That's all for today's History with Herodotus. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, remember that, to understand the present, we must first understand the past.